Hello all, this is Arun Prakash from Section E. I'll be talking about debt to GDP ratio of all Indian states. Last year, Reserve Bank of India released a very important document about the finances of states of India. And you know what? Some of our Indian states have been managing the finances so badly that these states could be heading towards the same state as Sri Lanka's economy. We all know what happened to the Sri Lanka in the recent past and how they were in the deep economic and political crisis. The debt to GDP ratio went for a toss, and now the country is in a pathetic state. All this happened because of the balance of payment crisis and policy mismanagement. Why is this RBI document comparing the Indian states to economic crisis in Sri Lanka? And how are these states making the same mistakes as the Sri Lankan government? That's what I will be discussing in this video. Just like the GDP, debt to GDP ratio used to check the financial health of the countries, there's a metric called debt to GSDP ratio for states. This is nothing but the ratio of debt of the state versus the gross state domestic product or GDP of the state. This ratio is ideally supposed to be around 20. Some states like Maharashtra and Gujarat have a percentage of less than 20%, which is very good. While the states like Punjab, Bihar, Rajasthan, Kerala have a very worst percentage, and while with Punjab and Rajasthan having a disastrous 53% and 39% respectively. And what's even worse is that the Punjab spent around 21% of its revenue in just interest payments. Now the question is, why are these metrics so bad, and what are these states are doing which is pulling them down? The general opinion is that these states are rolling out unviable subsidies and freebies to get the votes. And the worst part is that if they are in power, they could use the state's funds instead of the party funds to please the people. The RBI has raised concern about three such policies. The first concern is their pension expenditures. Recently, Rajasthan has rolled back to old pension scheme from the new pension scheme or NPS. NPS was implemented to reduce the government expenditure back then. The elections were scheduled for Rajasthan, and the government of Rajasthan decided to come up with this people producing policy and others such as increasing the number of freebies and that the states have given. Rajasthan spends around 23,000 crores on pensions and around 60,000 crores on the salaries and wages alone. This constitutes 56% of its tax and non-tax revenue. Rajasthan welfare is coming at the cost of long-term development in spite of the high debt to GSDP ratio of 39%. This is why this policy is considered as an economic disaster and the RBI has raised concerns about it. The second point is that RBI points out losses incurred by the government-owned power distribution companies on discounts. If you look into the value chain of power, there are four stages: power generation, electricity transmission, electricity distribution, and finally trading. Here we have government power distribution companies which are expected to buy power from producers at very low cost and sell it at a higher cost to make a profit. But these companies are incurring such heavy losses, they accounted for 1.43 lakh crores in last year. In fact, this is the reason the government had to infuse 90,000 crores into this to keep the discounts going. And one of the primary reasons for this is something called cross subsidy. And the third concern of RBI is nothing but the unviable subsidies and unnecessary freebies. For example, in Punjab, the government is offering free electricity up to 300 units to every household and is even waiving off electricity bills, which are said to cost the government 5,000 crores. On top of it, the government has promised to give 1,000 rupees per month per woman who is above the age of 18. It is said to cost the state 15,000 crores according to RBI. In Andhra Pradesh, the government itself is saying we will give free gas cylinders if they are voted for power. And in Madhya Pradesh, the government has promised electricity subsidies to farmers and domestic users, which is alone said to cost the state 21,000 crores. And just like this, there's a list of schemes listed by RBI for Kerala, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Haryana, Bihar, and almost all the states. These policies are not drafted or promised by one single party. It covers across all the parties in India are doing that. Out of all these schemes and subsidies and freebies, but it's still not very clear as to how many of them are to generate tangible return for the economy of the state. But the one thing is that sure is the people who are benefiting from these schemes are extremely happy. On the outside, it looks like the government is extremely generous and empathetic to the people. But behind the scenes, what scares RBI is the states are taking more and more grants from the state while they are recklessly spending on them on people policing policies and welfare. If this continues for a long time, the cost of the today's subsidy will be borne by the same people with inflation, rationing of food and fuel, and shortages in future. The economic of states are taking a back seat, where the politics of states are taking a center stage. This is a very dangerous proposition. What could be the measures to overcome this? The government should stop giving unviable subsidies and unnecessary freebies. States should focus on infrastructure development, education, and job creation. This may not bring immediate benefits, but in the long run, the upcoming generation will benefit from this, and the states and the country will be in excellent position. This is my topic. Thank you.